Now, I had to go over this. This is how blessings become burdens. I'm sure that everybody on here works incredibly hard to take care of themselves, their family, and their business, damn it. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? Now, in working hard, some of us do accumulate assets, things, or a little even bit of money in a bank account. And if we don't have these assets in trust, this property, whether it's real estate property or real property, which is everything else that we put a value to, if we don't have that in trust, well, we think that when we die, because we have a will, that everything is going to be okay. And that person who we leave responsible, even if we did plan it a little bit, but wills still have to be probated. So even if we did plan it a little bit with a will, that person who we left responsible then becomes really the decision maker when we're gone. And people switch up. Some of y'all have experienced that, and some of y'all have not yet. I hope you never do. It's not good. And so that said, that same person who we loved so much and we thought was responsible, so we left everything to, or left them to be the executor of our estate, those blessings that we thought we left end up becoming burdens. And here's why. Unintended beneficiaries. Without a trust, your assets might end up in the hands of unintended recipients due to the default rules of probate court. Let's say you got siblings, brother, sister, and your mom and your dad, or mom, dad, either one, they have a house and they have a rental property. So they have two houses and they don't have a trust. So they say, oldest daughter's going to be in charge, right? Well, as soon as they pass away, whether they left oldest daughter in charge or not, if things aren't broken up, planned out, well then that son, that brother who hasn't quite matured yet, sometimes it just takes us fellas a little bit longer, so maybe 38, 39, even knocking on the door of 40, before we become responsible. So brother, who's still 32, has a wife that sister never got along with. They just did not like each other, whatever it was. Couldn't figure out whose fault it was, of course, because they both blamed each other. So nobody ever knew. Well, when mom and dad pass away and we get this house and there is no estate planning, there is no trust, hell, there's not even a power of attorney for God's sakes most times, then that wife that no other sibling liked has a 50% interest in our brother's estate that our brother has out of our estate or out of our parents' estate. In terms of his inheritance, his wife has a 50% interest in that, a 50% ownership interest in that. And so now that's an unintended beneficiary, because hell, mom and dad didn't even really like her. They didn't really say much, because they didn't want to start no stuff, but they didn't like her. But now she owns some of the property and has a say in it. I'm just saying, guys, it can be avoided, and it should be avoided, because when there's things like that happening, that's when we end up losing assets that were intended to be passed down to family members for sometimes generations, and it ends up getting lost. Hope none of you ever have to experience that. So, probate process nightmares. It's time consuming, it is public, and often expensive. Probate process can drain resources and delay asset distribution to your loved ones. The average probate process per state takes roughly 18 months. Now, and guys, some states don't even have a probate rule on assets. There's other things that you can do to stay out of probate court, and some people just don't even have the knowledge and they voluntarily go into probate court. And so probate court, they get paid from the assets that they put through probate. So anywhere from between 5 and 10% commission they're getting. Okay, so probate, we're not doing it. Family disputes. I just talked about this. Your estate can become a battleground for family members. And it leads to strained relationships and potential litigation. And litigation is a backbreaker. Please believe that. Litigation, and if you're a business owner, the statistic is the average litigation costs a small business owner $50,000. And a good percentage of business owners over a 5-year period will experience litigation. It's just America. So we don't want to do that. Asset vulnerability. Without the protection of a trust, our hard-earned assets are exposed to creditors, to lawsuits, and to other financial threats. I like to sleep good at night. Now, but I'm sleeping good because I don't own any assets. My assets are protected and they're separated and segregated. And that term means something tonight and all the time, really. Loss of control. So failing to use a trust means losing control over how and when your assets are going to be distributed, potentially leading to misuse or the squandering of your wealth. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. See, this information, it has been hidden from us intentionally, not accidentally, but on purpose. And so when we have our hands on it, well, then it really truly does put us at the same starting line as the wealthy and the elite. And we have that same maneuverability. And it's sometimes unbelievable. Now, privacy invasion. So there's one thing that we should never do. And I do this every time I'm on a live on any social media platform and somebody says that they have a trust already. And I tell them that if they got it done by a lawyer, that trust is their name, living revocable trust, or their name, family trust. Worst idea in the world. You're just giving away your privacy right there because you've named the trust that owns the asset your name. It gives it away. So we don't do that. We're strategic about the utilization of trust because we understand these two at a nuanced level that puts us in just a whole different ball game. Anyway, without a trust, the distribution of that estate becomes a public record, exposing your family's financial affairs to anyone that's interested. Now, some of y'all may live in these bigger cities. I've moved to Houston. I mean, you know, I haven't heard about it much in Texas just because they kind of shoot first, ask questions later around here. From what I hear, I don't know. But Georgia, it's a real nightmare right now. I'm talking about even the stealing of deeds, the fraudulent conveyance of property, signing a deed fraudulently and recording that thing and then foreclosing on people and kicking people out of their houses even. And then talk about squatters. See, here's something about us. We ain't got them type problems. We just don't. But there's a different way. So don't get caught up in the nightmare. Inefficient tax planning. Not utilizing a trust can result in a heavier tax burden on your estate, which is going to diminish the value of the inheritance that you pass on, and a lot of times forcing a sale of those assets in order to cover the tax exposure that we inherit. And that turns into a mess in and of itself. And it doesn't have to be. So neglecting special needs planning. Without a special needs trust, you risk jeopardizing eligibility of a beneficiary with disabilities for vital government benefits. And another thing, a lot of us, maybe some of us do know for Medicare, there's something called a 5-year look back. So when you get Medicare and the government gives you assistance, financial assistance to pay for your medical care, they actually do a 5-year look back on your assets so that they can come back and look back and get their money back that they gave you with that assistance. They do a 5-year look back. So transferring that property, and then if you do transferring it to a family member or anything like that, it isn't going to work. So this is why getting your trust set up now and even helping your family members is essential. Failure to leave a legacy. I mean, without strategic use of trust, you miss the opportunity to support charity and create a lasting impact beyond your lifetime. Really? The last time somebody says our name, shit, that's when it's over. When you think about it. Anyway, Overlooking incapacity planning. So we could become incapacitated. Who knows what, for God's sakes, it just is what it is, right? So a trust can manage your affairs if you become incapacitated, avoiding the need for a court-appointed conservatorship that could be against your wishes. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is actually something called a pour-over will. That's different from a will. A pour-over will is actually inside of your living trust. Okay? It should be. So, just saying, it's different, but that takes care of that. It takes care of if they're gonna, cut the life support or keep it going, and who makes that decision, and then what happens after is all, because the trust is already operating things for you.